per capita. Next slide. We started by geo training. I think I showed you this, supported by Soul Train. But really, the numbers are like 2-3 people in a company. Are we going to achieve that by 2-3 people? It's impossible. Let's go next slide. Next slide. We do it by training through the trailer, which we have. But really, does it give the impact? Next slide. These are some of the installations that have been there in different places. This is in 2022, supported by Soul Train at one high school in Bulawayo. Let's go next slide. This is some installation that was stimulated by the support by Soul Train in Plantry. And this was a direct support from the client without any support from Soul Train. And the young lady down there was under the geo training. She wanted to come, but unfortunately we didn't manage to bring her. She's now a big lady in Harare there. She is Suku. She's one of the mentees that I've had over the years. Let's go. We've been in support in terms of training through Zera. This is different places, Bulawayo, Mutare, Masvingo. Next slide. Now, we say to ourselves over the years, picking up from the other countries in the Sadc, we realize that, the numbers that we are churning out are so small. Why don't you go a little bit low and look for those who are being called not having 5 O levels? These are the vocational training centers. So we teamed up with Improtech and SMV about 2 years ago, these slides here, and we did training in Bulawayo, Bulilima, and we were supposed to do some training in, what's the other area? It's running away from me. But I think there were 4 places, but we only did 2 of them. Next slide. So in 2025, we started to go to also try and extend in the vocational training. We teamed up with Bulawayo City Council. Bulawayo City Council, among the city councils, went on a social spree to say there are a lot of youth out there in the bridges. We normally call Emma Bridge in Ndebele, sitting there without any work. So they formed, I think, close to about 5 centers in the city where they would bring out students, basically less than 5 O levels, and they would train them. So we teamed up to do a training for them under Soul Train. But in this training here, we're looking at maybe 2-3 day training. But 2-3 day training for people who need more time, would that be sufficient? Yes, we want more people, but is that sufficient for us to achieve the quality and the things that we're talking about? It might not be. Next slide. This is training, Young Africa in Harare. Rudy, I can't see him. Oh, yeah, he's at the back there. It's training that we did for Young Africa. Picking up from leave from Mozambique again. Mozambique, Rudy managed to do some training some years back in Mozambique under Young Africa. They have their own concept where they basically have people come in under a franchise where they would say they are running a company. While they're running that company, they have these youth that basically do training. So these are some of the possible routes that we can use in our other countries towards vocational training. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide, sir. Next slide. Next slide. Now you can see, okay, just one back. You can see the students, they're going through their presentations in group work that they had done, gone to do all the measurements, gone to do their design for their solar thermal installations around the campus at Young Africa. And below there, the young girls that are measuring, there was a container that was there, and we're trying to do a design of possible putting things under the container. So they would take up measurements to check if the collectors that we wanted to put were going to fit. Next slide. Next slide, sir. This is a couple of days ago. This is Bulawayo, a vocational training center, a new cohort. Looking at the numbers, 67 students, with approximately 20 being female. Now, why I put this presentation was, how do we answer to the needs? Shall we go on a short course training? Shall we go on a 2-week, 12-week training? What do we do? Next slide. I've given you advantages and disadvantages of intensive short course for the different, I'm talking about vocational training. Advantages, obvious, time efficient, low costs in terms of travel costs, high, quick certification, good, but this would be for really people that have experience. Now, disadvantages, information overload, limited reflection time, hands-on time, obvious, will be compressed. Next slide. What about if you're having a 2-hour, 12-week kind of a long stretch for a vocational training? Advantages, better knowledge retention, more practice time, better for beginners. Disadvantage, long commitment, 3 months. You're talking about higher accumulation in terms of travel and time costs. Risk, obvious, of drop-offs and scheduling conflicts. So these are the things that we, as the Sadc countries, if we feel we need to go this way, we need to take care of those and plan for it so that we don't stop as we start the way. Next slide. So what format is the best? Obvious for experienced installers, 3-day training, intense, it's fine. For beginners, obvious, the 12 months format will be the best. 3-day for those who are basically where employers are sending staff. And then if you're talking about apprenticeship and career changing, you're talking about the 12-week formats kind of setup. So what do we do, or what do we need as Sadc in each or for each individual country? Let's take data, like my colleague said. Let's check. How do we fit in Zambia? What's the environment in Zambia? Is it the same as in Zimbabwe? Which one do you want to do it? I know a colleague, she's very passionate of this, Helvi. Next slide. So these are the considerations in terms of approach, collector types, whatever. Next slide. The last, obviously, is we need statistics. This is information for Zimbabwe. 45 vortex in Zimbabwe, currently with 25 satellites, with an aim of 64 vortex in each district. I extracted this from the minister's presentation. Next slide. So, how many slides in each country? That's our homework. How many should focus on solar thermal? I'm passionate about solar thermal, sorry, because we are at the Soul Train, isn't it? So, how many are focusing on photovoltaic? Everybody, when we talk about renewables, everybody goes photovoltaic. But what about the solar thermal side? The 40% that I mentioned in the morning. Then we're saying, so we need, if right now, I think yesterday, day before yesterday.
Just for interruption, if
just
you could have 1 minute to conclude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was an article where the African countries, Sadc countries, came up with a harmonized technical framework. Can we not do it for vocational centers? For universities, we are trying, I think it's already there, the framework. But can we not go down? So this is the inspiration from Young Africa, Mozambique. Next slide, I think it's the last one. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so very much, Professor. You will have seen as I started, I was still recovering from the food coma. And I completely forgot to introduce the topic for the session. It's around innovation and solar thermal in the Sadc region. And the presentation we just had from Prof is speaking to training in the VTC environment, which is often underrated, as he has said. So it's really good that you're doing great work in Zimbabwe, in your institution. So next up then is a presentation titled Integrated Innovation Ecosystem for Green Energy Technologies, an opportunity to realize the objectives of Namibia's Solar Thermal Roadmap, a partnership between Namibia University of Science and Technology, that's NUST of Namibia, and UNDP, and this presentation is delivered jointly by Mrs. Helvi Leka, who heads up the Center for Renewable Energy at the institute that I lead. So it's a real pleasure to have you join us here, Ms. Leka, and Ms. Irish Gora, who works very closely with us from the UNDP program in Namibia. So, shall you take the podium? I will have to stand guided by yourself how you want to do this, but thank you. floor is yours. Thank you. And just a reminder again, 10 minutes. And thankfully we've got a clock on the wall there, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor, also for the introduction. I'm not going really to talk about NEI. I think you have done that already. We are a National Energy Institute. We are funded by the Ministry of Mines and Energy. So we are established as a cooperation agreement between the Ministry of Mines and Energy and the Namibia University of Science and Technology. And we focus on training and capacity building, research and development. Also, if we do research, we formulate policies and regulations. We also manage projects on behalf of the ministry, and we provide technical advisory services. Just to go directly to the innovation we are talking, we would like to bring the country context. Only 59% of Namibians have access to electricity and access to clean, and 48.5 have access to clean cooking. That's our generation peak and our demand. So we import up to 60% of electricity from SAP and South Africa. So we are also paying close to $15 a kilowatt hour in Namibia. So electricity is very costly. So this is our generation capacity. You can clearly see that even when we are planning, when we are generating, my colleague mentioned in the morning to say 80% of our electricity goes to household and 40% of that is heating and cooling. So we have evidence, data, but you can see we are only mentioning the PV, the wind, the hydro, but we are forgetting what is being generated from solar thermal. So I think my colleague mentioned this morning that we can now treat on equal footing PV, thermal, and as the same technology, even in the generation, if we want to reduce the cost of electricity in the region. Again, what are the developmental challenges in Namibia, for example? You can clearly see that our cost is very higher from the region. Other regions, their power is subsidized. We are now a 3 million population. Of that, total is youth, 1 million, and many are under age of 35. So the unemployment rate is at 36.9%. Energy in general is regarded as something that can bring solution. Also, additionally, according to the World Bank of the survey which we've conducted, 11% of our monthly income is allocated to a prepaid of electricity. So this is very high. If you spend your 11%, it's not normal anymore. Namibia households spend 10% on energy. So even we are saying, if we are looking at affordability, if it's lower than 6%, it's regarded affordable. That means for us, it's no longer affordable. So an urgent solution is required. Again, we are just trying to provide real data here. What we did, we also went deeper because now our interest is in the household. We went deeper to characterize the Namibian residential load profile, archetypes using self-organizing maps based on temporal segmentation and seasonal clustering. So we partner with the University of Sadc from UK, and we team up with our distributor in Erongo-Red and UK Research and Innovation. So we wanted really to understand the consumption of electricity in a household. And you can see we're using machine learning to really look at how often this appear, and to tell you, this is also how we are looking to say, how can we introduce smart meters for the household themselves to know when they are using electricity and why they are using it for, and how and when they are using, and how can they make it cheaper to reduce this 11% which is allocated to the electricity. So we went deeper and also really look at how to cluster what is the weekend look like and how the weekday look like. And you can see our peak is from 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 12 o'clock when people are waking up, and then again in the evening. Those are real data. And when we compare, we use a few number of houses, but when we compare with our data in the mini-grid, the peak, it was not changing. So that's how I believe the peak demand of the whole Sadc energy sector. And you can clearly see that it's low heat demand. This is cooking and boiling of water and heating of water, really. And this is how we can shave it. So you can see actually now, when some people are using, they put PV on top, which is also good, but then it means if you put PV, you are also not sorting out the peak time. But if you store the energy in the water or in the battery during that, you can actually address the challenge. I brought another lady here, Cecilia, who was presenting on the cooking, who have looked at how solar storage, how solar cooking can also be installed for cooking at night. That really targeting that peak and to shave it off and to make sure that we are providing cheap electricity to our people. We also look at other clustering, like from the weekend. You can see the peak is shifting to 9 o'clock. That means people are waking up around
quick
9 o'clock.
Ms. Sadc.
Yes.
So I shall have to ask you to start to round up so
Yes.
you can give a chance to your co-presenter.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm almost done. What we have done then, we developed a solar thermal roadmap, and that is addressing now low heating, basically for hot water preparation and for cooking. And that is our strategy. We team up with the African Development Bank, assisting our government. We did then a bankable document so we can roll out solar water heating and solar cooking as part of that. So we have now, as a strategy, we are thinking energy sector can really bring solution to our challenges. If we roll out solar water heater, we can create jobs, we can do manufacturing, not only solar water heater. Also, we are saying you can heat both with PV or with solar thermal as well. So what we explore there is that, for example, we also look at how to explore different financing mechanisms. for the roadmap implementation. And from the Namibian people, the on-bill financing came out as the best option, where community can pay for, like utility can install the solar water heater, or it can be PV, can be a thermal system, but they deduct their money from the bill as they are paying electricity. That came out cheaper, but other models were also assessed. At the moment, the Namibia Energy Institute is working with the Rongo Red to optimize, to optimize the electrical geyser using the ripple control. You can also install maybe either a PV or thermal system and use the ripple control to control that you are really consuming your energy you are generating with solar during the day, and at the night you store it in the water or in the battery, and you can bring solution to that. So now I'm going to bring in my colleague as a partner to present. So what this table is explaining, these partners, it just means to say, for example, the Soul Train was very successful in such a way that we have a intake from Austria as a technical partner, and we were able to do all technical training, research, guiding us. Now, African Development Bank is coming in basically to provide financing, and UNDP, we all know what UNDP does. So all these partners, Soul Train is required. The researcher and the institute and the government, we both need to work together to bring this technology to our people. Irish, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So Irish will have to optimize on your time now, yeah?
Thank you so much, Dr. Ilumbo. I stand on the protocol that has been established, and I would like to appreciate the opportunity that has been given to us as UNDP. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity that has been given to UNDP to basically present our contribution and what we aim to achieve with working with the Namibia Energy Institute moving forward. I would like to try out my slides, but I'm still waiting. Maybe just as a basis of introduction, I currently lead the portfolio on sustainable inclusive green growth within the UNDP, and we focus mainly on poverty reduction, prosperity for all, human development, sustainable financing, as well as enterprise development, also looking at economic development, but mainly looking at entrepreneurship, as well as employment creation within the country. So basically, we partnered with the Namibia University of Technology because this space speaks to most of what we would want to do or want to achieve in the energy sector. So as an introduction, we basically met with the Namibia Energy Institute to try and propose to them a more like a comprehensive manner in which we would want to see development happening, especially in the education sector or higher education sector. And this was not new to them. It was something that they were already doing. And I think from the presentations that we've already seen, Soul Train is one of those examples, the very good examples that we can adopt moving forward. So as an outline to my presentation, I will touch on what led to the innovation that we are proposing to them or that we are working on together with, and as well as our ask for this morning. Okay, next slide. So just as a framework for the innovation, impulse that led us to do what we are doing right now is that we looked at, for instance, what we were faced with as a country, which is something that I think when we were faced with it, all of us, we were just running around looking for solutions, but we didn't know how to basically pin the solution that would actually work for us as a country. Just as a framework, if you look at what is happening currently in Namibia, is that we have a booming energy sector, which is driven mainly by the green hydrogen industry. We have an emerging oil and gas sector. We have a biomass sector that's growing. And then, of course, we have the renewables in terms of wind, solar, that basically we're growing at the same time. And this is a growth trajectory that I don't think as a country we were ready for, to be honest. And as a result, it was one of the key drivers towards us thinking in the fashion that we're thinking right now. And then, of course, we were seeing a lot of incongruencies with regards to skills in the market that were available to be able to meet the demands that were presented by these sectors. And then, of course, we had a very weak entrepreneurship ecosystem that could respond also with solutions to these sectors. And then, of course, we were also looking at the fact that the link between the supply and the demand side of labor as it relates to the energy sector was basically fragmented. So industry demands these skills, but then we were also realizing that they are not necessarily speaking to academia on a broader scale about all of these industries that are emerging. And then the pace was very fast for the country. It still is fast. So we are basically playing catch up in most areas. But I think that is something that we do take note of. And then, of course, there are other emerging industries that are driving the demand even further than what we expect. The rise of AI, more technology entering the continent. So those are some of the drivers that are currently out there. And with regards to demographic changes, my colleague has already spoken about the challenge that we're currently experiencing with our youth dividend, and these young people are not necessarily completely unskilled. A lot of them are skilled, they have something to contribute, but the environment that we are creating for them is not one that is entrepreneurial, is that of expecting them basically to take up jobs in existing industries. And with the emergence of these industries, we do realize that we need to strengthen the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And then, of course, the changes in perception. There was a colleague, I think, from Zimbabwe that has already mentioned the importance of the rise of TVETs and how these are being perceived slightly different moving forward. And we wanted to see how we can leverage that and strengthen that so that it's more meaningful for these industries moving forward. And then, of course, new knowledge entering the continent. So a lot of these industries that are emerging, the continent is still very young in terms of receiving the technology, or developing its own technology to be able to meet the demands. Next slide. So as a theory of change, we looked at what are those key components that we can add to our programming moving forward with the Namibia Energy Institute, mainly looking at not only developing the renewable energy sector or the green energy sector, but also contributing to the other areas of the energy sector. So some of the key components are strengthening institutional capacities. We're looking at skills development and innovative curriculum development. We're looking at stakeholder engagement, not only upstream but downstream as well, and of course resource mobilization for some of the solutions that will be proposed, and then business development and incubation and a market ecosystem support for our emerging entrepreneurs. Yeah. Next slide. So this is small, but I'll try and zoom into each section of the framework. So this is a framework that we are thinking of. But if you look at the Soul Train just go back to the previous slide. Yeah, if you look at the Soul Train program, it actually addresses or touches on a lot of what is entailed within this framework. It's actually one of the good examples that are out there that can be modeled and can be adopted for most countries. So basically, it's basically to just make sure that for us, what we would want to see is that as entrepreneurs are coming into the space, they basically take all of this into consideration, or all of this is taken into consideration. And the Soul Train example is one of the best examples. So next slide. So just as a mapping of, I've tried to zoom in into sections of that whole framework. So what we're looking at here is more from the supply side. What we see mainly is that all of these entities or sectors are basically contributing on the supply side, but often not talking to each other or often not working with each other. So we look at industry research, we look at the TVETs themselves, we look at academia in terms of higher education, we look at policy dialogues that are mainly coming from the development sector and as well as from academia. Often they don't talk to each other. They don't often sit at the same table and actually propel ideation and propel the direction of how development is supposed to go. So we would want a situation where ideation is formulated, taking into consideration what is happening in the region, what is happening in the continent, where is development being driven for the continent, and as well as taking research components, technical components, all of these things, putting them together to make sure that at the end of the day, the solutions we provide are meaningful for our communities and societies. Second bit. So after ideation, we would expect that we would want to work with all sorts of students, not only students coming from technical universities, but students coming from research, basically bringing them together so that they can ideate and come up with business ideas that work for the continent, that work for the situations that we're experiencing in our respective communities, and provide solutions that are workable for our environment. So the idea is that the center would promote business innovation, entrepreneurship, skills development. We particularly niched ourselves on entrepreneurship because we do understand that all of the other institutions are actually contributing right now to skills development in one way or the other. But our focus would be on making sure that we have enterprises that are in the energy sectors, such as Soul Train, that are addressing community solutions, community problems that we're experiencing in Namibia and across the continent. So the center is supposed to provide a platform for them to prototype, to test, to pitch their ideas on business platforms, as well as generate evidence for us to be able to advocate for investment to go into those particular projects. So the idea is that from these exercises, we will have a pipeline, a strong pipeline for the country in the energy sector that investors can then now come and contribute to. Next slide. So the idea here is mainly around the purple box, which focuses on investment. We would like to draw as much investment into the country, but not only drawing that investment without evidence to show that our solutions are working. So we would like to really focus on making sure that whatever we are putting out there is something that has been tested and is proven to work. And we do believe that this is an interest not only for government, but also for private sector. They would want to invest in solutions that they know, for instance, have been de-risked in this particular fashion. Next slide. So in terms of our targets, from the academia side, we're looking at the students, but not only working with the students, but the communities as well, for them to be able to participate in the innovation exercise through prototyping and also co-designing with the students themselves. So that's one thing that we see as a gain in terms of practical exposure for the students and as well as for the communities. And we would want to also believe that this is something that government will definitely be drawing benefit from, in terms of ensuring that that it secures a stronger future-ready labor force in the energy sector. And then, of course, entrepreneurs that can actually develop business solutions in this space. And then, of course, the last one is more for industry. We do believe that industry will benefit from this particular exercise in terms of having ready-made a pipeline that you can easily invest in. Yeah. And then from an academia perspective, of course, this is their bread and butter. So we expect that we see that they will basically derive value from the exercise in terms of it's about more practical solutions that they themselves can actually say, we developed 1, 2, 3 solutions that are actually working out there. That research is no longer about theory, but it's brought to the level where it's actually applicable for the communities. And then, of course, for our financiers and our development partners, this is the easiest way we see that can support our development partners and financiers basically to respond to some of the sustainable development goals. And then, of course, we have different de-risking mechanisms that we're going to be bringing to the table or proposing. And, of course, the whole exercise of working with the students and being linked to an institution that can support you from a research perspective is of itself a de-risking mechanism. Next slide. And then lastly, one could ask the question, where have you seen this being done? This has been done before. And some of the ideas that we are proposing are more of redesigning, for instance, the curriculum. Students are no longer interested in sitting in a university class for 4 years before they can actually bring out their solutions to the communities. They are driven by the needs that they see out there. And there is a growing need for us to come up with those solutions as fast as possible, especially with the rise of AI. We can see that there's a wealth of knowledge, so those solutions can actually be brought to the table faster. So we do see examples in terms of what has been done out there, where private sector has worked with academia and development partners to leverage some of the opportunities that can actually be catalytic in terms of advancing industry. Next slide. I'll leave those examples for now. But the next slide is that right now, since our inception last year, in terms of the project, we are looking at the building blocks of making this idea work. We are past the exploration phase. We are at a point where now we are building financial sustainability models, not only for the center to be able to be self-sustained, but also innovative financial solutions that would work for the entrepreneurs themselves. We are obviously refining our strategy as we are learning from other partners, we are learning from other countries in terms of what they're doing. And then, of course, we are here to seek more partners to partner with us and work with us to build this dream. And yes, and we are generating as much evidence as possible for us to basically look into a better future as it relates to the energy sector. Yeah, so thank you.
Sorry, apologies, Doc. Apologies.
Thank you. Yes.
Apologies, sorry. I've just received an announcement. There's another vehicle that's blocking a service truck. We have a silver Land Cruiser Prado, Zambian plates, BAV 1079. You are blocking a service truck. Kindly assist. Thank you. BAV 1079, Zambian registered. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc. Apologies.
Thank you. Yeah, at this point, I will not succeed in absolving myself from the blame that I've been too lenient to my fellow countrywomen. Apologies, colleagues, but I think managing 2 presenters has kind of just proven difficult to keep within 10 minutes. It's probably actually impossible. But yes, I take the blame. And thank you so very much, ladies, for the presentation. I think there will be an opportunity, particularly for Irish Goro,
if you wanted to engage her on the Center of Excellence, because the idea is that it shouldn't just work with the Namibian stakeholders, but across the region. And that's really what we would like to position it to be. So thank you very much, and shall I ask for another round of applause for the two ladies? Thank you. Great. And also just to acknowledge my co-moderator, who you will see on the screen there. I'm not playing Monopoly here. She has delegated full powers to me to moderate. Thank you, Jennifer. The next presentation is titled, How do we improve the adoption of renewable heating and cooling technologies in rural areas? And this is to be presented by Ms. Florence Mochochoko and Ms. Leteba Leseka from the Mountain Kingdom. That's how I've been told to describe it. So feel welcome to the podium. Thank you. A round of applause. Indeed, thank you. Do you want to use this or this? Great. There you go. Just the flip on and on. Is this the point at which we get to need some assistance? Thank you. It's just this guy. Yes. Hmm? Works? It's the distance. Okay. Over to you, ma'am, then. Thank you. 10 minutes, 15 minutes? I think I will return to that role still. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have one question before I begin my presentation. How often do we see solar water heaters in rural areas? Really? Okay. So, and how many people live in rural areas? So I come from the Kingdom of Lesotho, and in Lesotho, 69% of the population lives in rural areas. And I also find out in the Sadc region, 53% of the overall population also lives in rural areas. So in these rural areas, mostly people rely on biomass for water heating. And with that, it shows us that the majority of the people are excluded in this adoption to the solar thermal technologies. So there are so many reasons why solar water heating is not common in rural areas, and amongst the reasons, it is that solar water heating systems are designed for piped and pressurized systems, and they require reinforced urban roofs, which most of the traditional households do not have. And also they depend on professional installation, and they are also a high upfront cost required for them. So with that being said, in the rural areas, around 2 to 4 hours is spent daily on collecting wood, which reduces the productivity for both children and women. And also, this proves health burdens from the indoor smoke people inhale. And also, we cannot forget the deforestation and the environmental degradation that comes with firewood collections. So what can we do to try and fix that? We could try and find a design system that tries to move from an urban to a modular rural systems. So one of the key principles that we could consider for this kind of systems is that the system should be a manually fed system. It should be a low pressure compatible system, and it should have a gravity fed integration. And also it should be easy to move so that it tracks the sun's movement during the day. And also, it should have an easy installation, as we have also mentioned that there are high cost of installation for the urban solar water heating systems that are already common. These systems will not only be beneficial for our households, but they will also benefit the agro-processing and the dairy sanitation. It will also benefit the rural clinics and schools, the small hospitality enterprises, and the livestock and value chains. So the impact from this, if 100,000 rural households adapt to this redesigned system, we see that there will be a significant amount of wood saved. There would be millions of labor hours that are freed for both children and women, as they are mostly the ones that collect wood. And also we'll have a reduced health expenditure. And also there will be carbon emissions that are reduced. This will also stimulate rural enterprise growth. So I believe this redesigned systems supports the Sadc industrialization strategy, the National Energy Compact, and the gender and youth empowerment, climate resilience goals, and just the energy transition pathways. In order for us to implement this system, we could try to integrate the renewable energy hit in rural electrification policy. We could try to support demonstration hubs and also expand funding beyond mini-grids, because one thing we have heard, one thing that's very common, it's that funding is mostly for mini-grids. And then we could also try to develop a rural adapted production lines. So in conclusion, this inclusive energy transition should also begin where the pipes end. We shouldn't just only consider the urban areas, but also try to adopt the technologies in the rural areas as well. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Another round of applause for her for keeping within the time. Thank you. And indeed, the topic that she has presented truly demands innovation on how we can expand the deployment of these technologies to those regions that we often get to neglect. So thank you very much for that. The last, but certainly not the least, of the presentations is titled Solar Heat for Industrial. Let me switch over to the other one. Solar Heat for Industrial Applications, Partnerships and Progress in Botswana, and this is by Professor Kevin Naingwe, Soul Train Country Leader in Botswana, and also Mr. Kago Rabasoma of CERC Botswana. Could you take to the podium, and a round of applause for him as he comes. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. It's been a long day. I hope we can still take on a little bit more. My name, as introduced, is Kago Rabasoma. I'm a lecturer at the University of Botswana in thermofluid and energy engineering. I stand here on behalf of myself and our project lead, Professor Kevin Naingwe. So we are going to talk about solar heat for industrial applications, progress and partnerships in Botswana. We have noticed in Botswana over the few years of doing the Soul Train, we have noticed a significant improvement in terms of solar thermal adoption for domestic purposes, but we're still lacking in terms of solar thermal applications for industrial process heat. So over the last year and the years before that, we have made some effort, some intentional efforts to try to boost and encourage solar thermal application for industrial process heat. So to do this, we have partnered with UNDP and the leading mining companies in Botswana to provide solar thermal training, particularly with an aspect or a perspective of industrial process heat for the staff and the nearby community people within the mines. And this partnership was with the UNDP's Supplier Development Program in Botswana, and we organized renewable heating and cooling technologies training workshops in partnership with 2 mines. We intend to do more, but over the last year, we've been managed to do trainings for Botswana Ash, commonly known as Botash mine. This is one of the biggest producers of soda ash and salt in Southern Africa and perhaps indeed Africa. We also did solar thermal trainings for industrial process heat for Murupule coal mine, which produces coal, and most of that coal is used in power production for Botswana. So in total, for all of these trainings, we had 73 participants. 57 of those were male and 16 female. Hope this works. Okay. So if we zero in into the first training, the supplier development training workshop at Botash, this training workshop had 30 participants at the mine, 4 female, 26 male. And then we also did a second training workshop. Please, next slide. Second training workshop, which was also supplier development training workshop for experts and professionals in Murupule coal mine. And this one gathered 43 participants and a better fraction of females, although we still try to encourage more participation of females, which is a little bit challenging when you get into the mining industry. So other than the 2 trainings that we did for supplier development trainings, we also did a lot of trainings with different purposes, different intentions with regards to this renewable heating and cooling. We had a specialized technical course. Some of you here will remember during the 8th Soul Train Conference. And the purpose of this training was to talk to the quality inspection of solar thermal systems. We also had a second design workshop for our University of Botswana solar water heating installations. So when we talk to these design workshops, these are practical trainings, hands-on, where the trainees get to interact as they install solar thermal systems. So we have quite a lot of this. And these are just normally small, intimate numbers of people who are able to go through the installations. We also had a second specialized course for companies and artisans. This is a mixture of a theoretical as well as practical training workshops. This one now with an emphasis on design of control management and monitoring systems for solar thermal systems. So we'll get to see that as we proceed with this presentation, the importance of monitoring, and we highlight on that as one of the key aspects of the Soul Train program. We also had a dissemination course. This was a promise that we made during the 8th Soul Train conference, that as part of our dedication as Soul Train Botswana to gender diversity, gender inclusion, we are going to have a training by women for women entirely. So we were able to host this training in May of last year, where we had 13 female participants and there are 2 female trainers. This training was a women only, and we are very proud of doing it, and we intend to do more trainings like that to improve capacity for women in solar. We also put a lot of emphasis on energy management, energy audits. So we did another training on energy management where we trained trainee engineers on how to conduct energy audits, especially with regards to solar thermal systems and energy efficiency measures. Yes, I talked to the second on-site design workshop later on in the year. Around October, we had the third one, which was still on the installation of solar thermal systems. This is very important because it is during these workshops where we actually take our participants, our trainees, to join in with the solar thermal companies, and they go through all the stages hands-on on how to install and to troubleshoot solar thermal systems. So we had a lot of trainings. We had another second iteration of the specialized trainings on monitoring. We also did, and this one I think Sadc will talk to more in detail, we also did an outreach into Sadc. We went into Zambia to do a utilization training workshop. These were organized by Sadc as one of our partners in this Soul Train program. So as part of Soul Train, because this project is more on proof of concept of solar thermal systems, we need also to highlight the demonstration systems on top of the training. And this becomes very, very important as you approach the mining companies, the industries. They need to know that the technology works and the technology is de-risks. So we have several demonstration systems in Botswana. For today, I'm going to talk to the monitoring results of those demonstration systems. We have the University of Botswana, where we have 8 demonstration systems in 8 hostels. And over the last year, we started monitoring the system in February 2025. These solar thermal systems produce 115 megawatt hours of thermal energy for the University of Botswana. So you can see how huge they are. We also have the systems at Botswana Defence Force Barracks. We have one in BDF Glen Valley Barracks. This one started monitoring in 2025 October and has already generated 16.2 megawatt hours of thermal energy. We have another one in BDF Village Barracks. This one, we just began monitoring it at the beginning of this year. We hope to get some results by the end of the year that we can present. So this is the statistics that were asked for in the morning, right? And then we have one where our statistician will kill us. We don't have online monitoring for this one. We only have manual monitoring, and we expect to have results for over the year, at the end of the year, that we can present. Now, I would like to take you on a side tour of the University of Botswana Solar Thermal System please take some minutes to enjoy the tour.
Welcome to the University of Botswana Solar Water Heating Systems. The installation of these systems was made possible through the support and co-funding from the Soltrain Plus project. Soltrain Plus, Southern African Renewable Heating and Cooling Training and Demonstration Initiative, is a project funded by the Austrian Development Cooperation, with a mandate of providing training, technical and financial support on renewable heating and cooling initiatives in Southern Africa. These systems were installed by GridTech Proprietary Limited, with technical support from AE Intech, Austria, and the Clean Energy Research Center of the University of Botswana. The University of Botswana system comprises of 8 identical pumped solar water heating systems, each servicing a 48-bed student hostel. Each system has a 32 square meters collector area, made up of 16 flat-plate solar collectors connected in parallel and series to each other. Overall, the total collector area for all the installations is 256 square meters. Special air release valves are also installed at the highest point of the collector banks, as well as the collector temperature sensors, which are used for system control and monitoring. The rest of the components are installed down in the tank room for easy access and maintenance. Each tank room houses a 2,500-liter double-jacketed pressurized stainless steel tank that is set to store water up to 80 degrees Celsius. The solar pump station ensures sufficient circulation in the primary loop, as well as filling and emptying of the primary fluid. System protection is achieved through pressure release valves in the primary loop and the tank, along with a 120-liter expansion vessel that accommodates fluid expansion during higher temperatures. UVR67 and UVR610K electronic controllers are employed to control the operation of the system. In addition, the Control and Monitoring Interface, CMI, is used for system monitoring, remote control, data logging, and visualization of all controllers. The online monitoring allows for real-time visual representation of the systems, together with long-term historical data analysis via Winsol software. In total, the 8 pumped solar thermal systems installed at the University of Botswana generated over 115 megawatt-hours of thermal energy during the year 2025. From an environmental conservation perspective, this annual energy generated is calculated to avoid approximately 77.3 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, according to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Apart from providing the residents with hot water, the University of Botswana Soltrain Plus co-funded solar systems are used as training tools during practical training workshops. The systems are also critical for demonstration of the technology through site tours and visits. Overall, these systems demonstrate solar thermal technology and the benefits of harnessing the abundant solar energy in Southern Africa.
While the Soltrain project is primarily a capacity building project, one exciting component is the demonstration project. And here in Botswana, we've had the privilege of implementing several demonstration projects. In this phase of the project, we have implemented a demonstration project in Pudulohong Rehabilitation Center in Moshudi, another one in BDF Glen Valley and BDF Village. And today we're talking to the demonstration project at the University of Botswana, which became one of the most exciting projects. It became a center of excellence where installers, would-be clients, will come to see this wonderful installation.
The new solar water heating units that are installed in the University of Botswana were the birthchild of the university's aggressive dedication towards holistic sustainability. Being the premier institution of Learning in Botswana, the University of Botswana found it fitting to lead the way in harnessing the country's abundant solar energy resource and supply hot water for the students who reside in the university hostels.
In addition to this progressive installation that's been exciting in terms of the technology, in terms of its performance, another inspiring part of the project is the fact that it solved a problem. If you go to the University of Botswana hostels, you will see that this project has eliminated the problem of hot water provision for students. The impact is so powerful to the extent that the university is considering replicating this project in several other hostels.
The University of Botswana is grateful to the Soul Train project, funded by the Austrian Development Corporation, for being a strategic partner towards the acceleration of solar thermal adoption through specialized trainings and financial support. The installation of the new solar systems in the university was indeed a collaborative effort. In the 1 year or so since the commissioning, these solar systems have been transformational in the university. Our students have had around-the-clock access to hot water even during the winter months. Financially, the solar units have reduced electricity bills, and environmentally, they have contributed to the Green Initiative. These systems have motivated the university to invest in solar energy even more.
The Soul Train project, in addition to building capacity in Botswana, has initiated and implemented several proofs of concept. And the University of Botswana demonstration system is one such proof of concept. It is exemplary, it is excellent, and this is a reflection of the impact of the Soul Train project, one of the reflections of the impact of the Soul Train project here in Botswana. And we're excited that this success took place, and we're looking forward to many more. Thank you.
This production was made possible by the Soul Train Plus project and University of Botswana.
That looked like me. All right, this was just an attempt to bring to us what has happened in Botswana and real testimonies. We will use the remaining 1 minute. We have 1 minute, isn't it? Yeah, the 1 minute from Namibia. We're going to use the Namibia 1 minute to tidy up to say that in addition to these wonderful trainings that's been presented, which I'm not going to repeat, and the demonstration of, I was going backwards, sorry. And the demonstration of, in addition to that, we also wanted to remind us that by this time last year in Botswana, in addition to these trainings, we had the 8th Soul Train Conference. I guess the system there. Continue? Continue? Okay, thank you. Right, we had the 8th Soul Train Conference, which took place last year by this time, which was declared open by the President of Botswana and hosted by us. Some of you were in this conference. And we had some behind the scenes upon arrival, some behind the scenes before the conference. And then this was the opening ceremony of the 8th Soul Train Conference, with some of you speaking and seated here today. We also had, in addition, a glimpse of some special programs, including the gender program, where we had the Honorable Minister for Youth and Gender, Leseho Chombo, joining us, and of course the Ambassador of Austria to the Southern African Zone joining us. We also had the university, I'm happy the Vice Chancellor is here for NOST. We had the Vice Chancellor of the University of Botswana, Professor David Norris, joining us in that activity. We also had some highlights, including going up. It was at the height of this exhibition that I handed over to Samson to say, take us to Vic Falls. What he does next, we shall see. And of course, we had a beautiful closing ceremony to the 8th Sovereign Conference, and this was a representation of all the stakeholders who were part of the progress. Thank you for being part of our story. We are grateful that you had time to listen, and apologies if we overstepped. Thank you, and back to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you so very much. And this brings us to a close of this session. And I would just like to thank very sincerely all the speakers for your insights and all of those projects that you've exposed the audience to. And I think in the very interest of time, if you would really, really understand where I stand at this point, I would very much have loved to give you an opportunity to ask a question or two, but I'm not sure I've got that opportunity. Would you feel very free to tell me it's not possible? Okay, I'm told there can be an opportunity for one question. But before that happens, I just want to really thank all of you, the audience, and particularly the high table representatives of the different countries, including His Majesty or His Royal Highness here at the front. Very well engaged, and it's been very inspiring, and I just want to thank all of you for your indulgence. So the one question then, who is that lucky person? Everyone in the middle. Great. Off you go, please. Thank you.
A mic at the back?
I've got one here, if you wanted me to add to my step counts for the day. No?
I'll add mine.
Yeah.
Ah, good. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Kwamelo Mashaba from University of Botswana. I have one question to a speaker who was talking about installation of or the use of solar thermal technology in rural areas. My question is, how can rural development program effectively integrate capacity building and community awareness? Because we know that though we know the technology, yes, it will be useful, but capacity building and awareness will play a vital role for the adoption of the technology. How will that be done? Thank you.
Great. Let me pass over the mic.
Thank you very much for the question. I believe we could first start by implementing the capacitation by trying to give them an idea during the public gatherings first. And then if they show a keen interest to it, that I think that's when we could start the implementation of it, not just go with the implementation without first trying to discuss with the community.
I do see hands up, both in the audience and at the front. But this is the point I will have to exercise my powers now. There is a question. Was it a follow-up?
I just wanted to add something to my colleague from Lesotho.
Yes, half a minute. Yes, thank you.
Yes, just half a minute. I was just saying, in terms of awareness raising and education, we have an advocacy for clean cooking and heating in the country, which is being spearheaded by our Deputy Prime Minister, who is a woman, because we believe that women are the ones who are suffering a lot in that. So we have our DPM who is spearheading that, and she will be undertaking advocacy around the country for awareness raising and education.
Thank you very much. That officially closes our session then. And thank you very much once again to the audience. And Program Director, I hand back the powers to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll allow you to have your photo shoot, and then you can take leave.
That's a great present to give. Thank you.
Right, round of applause as they take their seats. Thank you very much to this session. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll agree with me that the Soul Train is a beautifully loaded train. There is so much to tell, so much to discuss. Hearing the stories and the impact in University of Botswana, getting to experience, have a site tour of the project, as well as rural Lesotho. It's really quite awesome what's happening with regards to the Soul Train project. And so it really hurts me at times when I have to block out the question and answer sessions, because this is why we're here, to engage, to converse. But in the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me. We are supposed to have been returning from tea. May I request that we quickly grab our cups and come back? This is really not a tea break, or it's just to grab a cup of coffee and come back if you must. So I will give that 5 minutes. Is that okay? My day has been terrible with this. Sorry, sir. Right, yes, he's got a great suggestion. If you feel you want to have tea, you can step out. But for the next 5 minutes, I think I will allow that. And then in 5 minutes, my moderator will be taking the stage for us to move on to the last session of the Soul Train conference. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you will, if you must, this is your opportunity to grab your cup and come back in time for the last session. Thank you.
Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing, 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 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Two, 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 two. Two, two, two. Two, two. Two, two.
Hello. Good afternoon once again. It's always nice when you were up on the podium, so you do not need to repeat the protocol once again. Again, my name is Helvi Ileka. I work for the Namibia Energy Institute and the coordinator of the Salt Train project in Namibia. I'm going to moderate this session, very interesting session, and I'm given only 30 minutes. So I would like to call upon the team already in front. So the topic we are presenting is innovation and solar thermal in the Sadc region. I mean, it's innovation and solar thermal in the Sadc countries of, yes. So please, all the team, you can, I have a very, very, very technical team. So I hope, team, you are going to help me to stick to the time. As much as we are innovative, we can do with time. So thank you very much. I do not want to waste a lot of time. We are given a strict time. Can I please call upon Dr. Francois? He will be presenting to us on innovation and trends in PV to heat and PV thermal. I mean, he will present on innovation and trends in PV to heat and PV thermal. What a very interesting topic. Dr. Francois, please join us.
Thank you very much. I'll be presenting together with my colleague from the Center for Renewable and Sustainable Energy Studies at Stellenbosch University. His name is Javi Maluleki. So we'll dovetail the presentation. I'm officially a postdoc fellow at the center, so you probably are wondering why is an old guy like me only at that level and still doing research. And that's because I worked in industry for 30 years, and I only kind of went back to academia about 5 years ago. Most of my research is on industrial thermal systems, and the reason why we decided to focus on that, or I decided to focus on it, is if you look at the total energy consumption globally, 30% of it is by industry, directly with process heat, as was described earlier, and that's typically by burning coal into furnaces, into kilns, or firing coal boilers. Another area that we're covering with Soul Train, and some of our partners are quite active, is in the residential sector, as well as commercial and public services. And that's what we'll be focusing on today. Sorry, I messed up here. We might need to get some. All right, so let me just give you a bit of insight about what's happened in South Africa in the last 30 years. When I first arrived in South Africa, it was one of the lowest cost of energy anywhere in the world. Today, it's not the case. So at the time, I was, in 1999, 2000, I was running a smelter in Mpumalanga, and we were very competitive, and we were the beneficiary of technology that had been transferred from Japan, where they were no longer able to compete locally and produce chrome competitively. So they transferred the technology across to South Africa, which helped create jobs and support job development and so on. South Africa is now finding itself in the same situation Japan was 30 years ago. Our cost of power has increased 5 times ahead of inflation over the last 30 years, and water is actually a similar thing. So, you know, we've got real challenges, not only in terms of capacity and the ability to meet our demand, but also just in terms of the affordability of power and to support industry and industry development. At the same time, what's happened is the cost of solar power has come down dramatically. So over the last 30 years, the cost of solar PV has come down by 98 to 99%. That is dramatic, 98 to 99% in 30 years. And that's really accelerated in recent years. So against a cost of inflation, cost of electricity well ahead of inflation, and the cost of solar coming down, what we're finding now is a very different dynamic. So Eskom, which is our national utility, has about 45 gigawatt of installed capacity in the country, 45 gigawatt. In the last 4 years alone, we've added 18 gigawatts of solar and wind in South Africa. In the last year alone, we added 7.5 gigawatt, right? I mean, these are incredible numbers. Most of that is coming from the commercial and industrial sectors with installation of 30 megawatt or more, okay? So the residential sector is still important because it's the sheer number of installation, but where most of the investments are going is into PV, solar PV, into battery energy storage, and that's happening in the mines, in industrial settings, and commercial settings. So big transformation happening. Together with that, what it leads to is new innovations, right? So you heard a little bit earlier about this comparison, side-by-side comparison that Namibia did of solar thermal system against a PV2E system. So a PV2E system, just to boil it down, is effectively the PV panel produced direct current, which can be fed directly to an element. And that's the big breakthrough that's happened in recent years. The element can actually either take alternative current or DC current. And then all you need is effectively a wire that connects your PV array and a small DC controller that allows to operate your geyser. And that's a big breakthrough, right? It simplifies a lot of things. There's no more pumps, there's no more pipes, there's no more solar loop. Effectively, all you have is a geyser, and if you already have the geyser that can be retrofitted, the cost is effectively the PV panel and the element, okay? So it can lead to really improved costs. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And as a result, South Africa has started adopting this technology. It's an early adopter globally. You can see the trend in terms of the acceleration in terms of adoption. And that's driven by 4 or 5 factors, one of which is the capability building that's happened over the last 30 years in terms of solar thermal technology with our plumbers and our electricians. They understand the field, and it's an easy retrofit. There's a regulation that requires for any new installation or major refurbishment that 50% of the hot water be provided by renewable energy. So that's also support kind of innovations and solar energy. The third one is we've got a discount effectively or an incentive for PV installation, which we don't have in solar thermal. So again, that kind of facilitates this adoption. What we'll do next is just give you a couple of examples, and my colleague will take that over, just to bring it to life for you. So this is just the arrow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll just go through some examples of PV2it systems. Yeah, so this technology is mostly deployed in new residential projects. So like Dr. Rozon said, because of the building standards that require 50% of the annual hot water demand to be provided by solar energy. So this is an example of an affordable house development, which is in Gauteng. The development is about will have about 9,000 houses. So far, phase one has commenced, and they've built about 250 units. Yeah. So the system consists of a 1,500 liter of geyser. So inside it has a 3 kilowatt heating element, DC AC heating element. So this is powered by either 1.1 or 1.6 kilowatt PV, which is, and also a battery, which is, the system also has a battery, and the system, it's also connected to the grid. The project was also subsidized by the government, so they provided one panel per house. So the annual yield is about 1,500 to 2,400 kilowatt hour, and then the solar fraction is about 50%, and the payback is about 3 to 5 years, with a return of about 13 to 27%. The cost per unit is about 20,000, which translates to about 1,200 USD. So another project is middle class estate, which is also in Joburg. So this estate is about 222 houses. This one is just a simple system. So it's just a 150 liter tank, which also has a 3 kilowatt heating element, which takes both AC and DC. And also it's powered by PV. I think it's about 1.4 kilowatt PV array. So the cost per unit, it's about 760 USD per unit, and the annual solar aid is estimated about 2,500 kilowatt hour, and our solar fraction is about 55%, with a payback period of about 3 years, and a return on investment of about 33%. So this is just performance data for like 3 different single household residences. So this is for different locations and also different sizes of the systems. So as you can see, this is for Randburg, Joburg, and also Free State, which is also in South Africa, and also one system in Zimbabwe. So as you can see, the system with a high capacity PV and a geyser has a high solar fraction, also high returns compared to these smaller systems. Another innovation is the PVT systems. So this is a hybrid panel that produces both electricity and water. So it produces about 3 to 4 times the energy yield compared to alternatives, and also it makes sense in urban high density buildings. Our industry partners are getting most tractions in hospitals and clinics and also hotels with these systems. So in terms of statistics, so the global market shows a steady increase in the adoption of this technology. So the growth is about 7%. And from 2017 to 2004, the installed area is almost doubled. But you can see the adoption is mostly in Europe. So Dr. Razon will take you through some examples.
Yeah, we'll try to be quick. So already some of my colleagues showed you the Mediclinic in Cape Town. It's one of the most beautiful sites. You'll see a solar thermal system operating. And the big innovation here that was added was to put a water-to-water heat pump, which allows to recover waste heat from the air conditioning unit for the operating theater. And that allows the heat pump to operate at a much higher coefficient of performance. So for every unit of energy, you get like 6 units of thermal energy. So that's a big innovation. I'm not going to take you through the detail. The IRR is pretty reasonable at 16% with a payback of 6.5 years. But as Wolfgang mentioned, effectively, if you look at the total heat generated by the PVT system, which is the orange, the dark orange is the heat pump, and you look at the electricity which is generated, there's a net electricity generation, so it makes the hospital effectively zero carbon for the year as it runs. Another system we installed at a residence, a bit simpler with an air to water heat pump, and that covers a number of residents. And whenever you have effectively a main ring that services many rooms, or kind of 20, 30, 40, 50 rooms, then you typically would go for a system like that as opposed to a decentralized system. If you've got less concentration of units and they're more spread apart, you probably would go with PV2 or the solar thermal system that we looked at earlier. Similar financials, I'm just going to skip over that. We're in the process of doing the analysis in terms of the cost benefit. This gives you a bit of a range for different application, and that's something that we want to take forward and become more precise so that we can give a better indication of cost benefit. So PV2 has become a very competitive water heating technology. South Africa is a leading early adopter. For institutional buildings where there's a ring main involved, then heat pump combined to solar thermal makes a lot of sense. But where buildings are far apart, then PV2 heat is a preferred solution. Okay, I'll leave you on that note.
Another round of applause. Very interesting indeed. We are pressed with time. I will not provide any comment, but all what I'm saying, the solution is here. We just need financing, and we can embrace. We are presenting real data. The next presenter is Dr. Sadc Tamai, and he will present to us energy audit activities in Lesotho under the Soul Train project. Doctor, your 10 minutes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As it has been said, my name is Sadc Tamai. I come from the Mountain Kingdom, or the Kingdom in the Sky, as it's known. So I'll be talking to you about the work that we have been doing under SaltTrain, trying to promote adoption of this solar water heating or solar thermal technologies in the hospitality sector. I'll just request a minute for the slides to come up. Okay. Over the previous phases of SaltTrain, we concentrated more on promoting solar thermal technologies in clinics, hospitals, orphanages, and schools. But in the last few years, we have been concentrating more on trying to get the hospitality sector on board. And with that, we have had a number of energy audits that we have done with different B&Bs or guest houses, because we have realized that they have a heavy reliance on electricity and also LPG for heating and cooking. And due to the rise in tariffs of electricity in our country, which have been going at around 10% per annum, that becomes a real issue for sustainability for the tourism sector. So cutting costs, we thought, would help them. And we have one of those hospitalities that is called Melesi Lodge in the country. The idea is just to assess the energy needs of these facilities and identify inefficiencies or cost-saving opportunities so that we can propose solar thermal solutions for them, and that would definitely generate evidence-based investment decisions so that they can know what to do and how much they will make. We have about 8 of those facilities. 3 have already been assessed and have gotten support from SaltTrain. The system were installed late last year, some are being installed this month, but these 8 are yet to be installed, so we have got data for them. They vary in sizes from about 4 to 38 rooms with a capacity of 14 to about 100 guests. And they do have common end-use patterns in terms of energy consumption, mainly water heating, space heating, and so on. And what we have done was just to have some of our MSc students, we have a program called Master of Science in Sustainable Energy, which do these energy audits. Of course, we do supervise them. And we analyze the energy bills for these facilities. We talk to the staff, we get the data. We walk through their facilities and see what devices they have. And the analysis that we have done so far, typically we have energy consumption, electricity-based mostly, being very high in winter. As you know, Lesotho gets snow in winter. And obviously around December being the festive season, also their consumption is a little bit high. That's when they have high occupancy. And majority of the consumption from the electricity side, around about 25% to 40%, is for water heating. On average, 35% or so. So we saw this as a largest opportunity where we could bring in renewable energy heating and cooling so that we can lower the costs for these facilities. And in particular, if we compare the 8 facilities that we looked at, they vary because some are very small with fewer rooms, some are large, but their costs are rising proportionally with the energy consumption that they are having. And at the moment, we have around 15 US cents per kilowatt hour as the cost of electricity, and the energy bills obviously do affect their margins. So the suggestions that we are going to make will probably help them as we compare the cost, the levelized cost of solar thermal energy to that of grid electricity. The good thing about solar thermal solutions is that they are scalable. We can start small and build up over time. So whether you start up with 2 square meters, 4 square meters, or you roll out the whole 10, 20 square meters, it's easy to do depending on your financial muscle. You can have centralized ones where you cover a whole lodge or guest house, or if it's built with different smaller units, you can have each unit having its own system. So we have been simulating some of those smaller systems, especially for those that have smaller heads that are having 1 or 2 guests per room. And then we also have a bigger ones where we have simulated a distributed one with over 1,000 or 2,000 liters for hot water storage. And assumption that we have, because lodges and hotels for comfort, people use a lot of hot water for bathing, probably in the morning and in the evening. We assume around 40 liters per person per day. So some of those simulations that we have been doing for all these hotels, assuming a lifetime of 25 years and some kind of metrics for financial analysis, we are assuming a cost of around 600 euros per square meter or $800 per square meter or so. And we have realized that on average, the system will have a solar fraction of around 77.5%, which means most of the water heating demands could be covered from solar with a little electric backup here and there, especially because we have over 300 days of sunshine in a year. So sometimes, like when it's ready, like this couple of weeks, we'll still need that electrical backup. And the system average efficiency is around about 42%, and we are estimating an avoidance of CO2 emissions to the tune of around about 100 kg per room. And when we do the economic investment, we believe the typical investment for some of those hospitalities will be around $700 to 1,000 per square meter, with a simple payback period of between 5 and 9 years. And then the levelized cost is almost going to be half or so of the grid electricity. The grid electricity, remember, is at 15 cents US dollar per kilowatt, but these ones are ranging at around 6.1 to around about 9.8 US cents per kilowatt hour. So we believe this will then give the hospitality sector a bit of margins and resilience in terms of their energy costs. And with this, we conclude that there will be lower and reduced operating costs, improved resilience to tariff increases. If the tariffs are going to increase by 10% every year from now on, this will be shielded. And then they can also enhance their green branding and promote ecotourism. And obviously, as much as they can start small, if they need to scale up, this will be amenable to scalability. And we conclude that there are patterns that are repeatable throughout, although we have done, I think, so far, close to 15 guest houses and lodges, and we continue to do a little bit more. 3 of them are already fitted. We are going to monitor and measure their data and have real data maybe in the next forum, but this can provide a strong case that needs policy support from the government and perhaps some incentives so that the hospitality sector and other sectors can take up the opportunity. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Prof. Another round of applause for him. The next presenter is Welcome Nukeri. Are you having a presentation? Okay, thank you. Please come from Sadc of South Africa.
Afternoon once again. So my name is Welcome from Sadc, South Africa. So I'll be presenting on high-level look at solar thermal status in South Africa. So next. Who is Sadc? Sadc is a state-owned entity whereby we report to DEE, which is Department of Electricity and Energy. So that's our main focus, whereby we report to the DEE. Then I'll skip this one. So at South Africa is responsible for 1.9 global greenhouse gas emissions. So we are the highest greenhouse gas emitter in Africa, and also the home to the largest point source of CO2 emission in the world. So I'll skip this one, as I learned from the master of skipping there. So So PV status in South Africa. So South Africa solar PV sector is experiencing rapid growth, driven by load shedding, declining cost, and government initiative. So total PV capacity reached 8.97 gigawatts in 2024, which 11.9 increased from 2023, and 2.8 gigawatts from public procurement, 6.1 gigawatts from private sector contribution. Also, rooftop solar PV estimated to reach 2.31 gigawatt in 2025, increased from only 983 megawatts in 2022. The next one. So the solar thermal status in South Africa, solar thermal energy in South Africa, primarily domestic water heating and low temperature industrial processes. So industrial application includes processes heat for food and beverage industries, textile mills, and recycling plants. Market for large-scale solar thermal system still developing, potential for growth and job creation. So there's the benefits, whereby I won't be dwelling much on the benefits and the challenges, so I'll just share the slides. Status quo for solar thermal in South Africa. We do have policy, technology, and society. So in the policy integrated resource plan, we have integrated resource plan, South African Renewable Energy Master Plan, solar exclusion norm, and tax incentives. So in technology, we have currently no local manufacturing capacity. Best steel experience means thermal potential, no competitive localization potential. So under society, energy security, decarbonization, technology awareness and understanding, increased uptake recently. So as at 2024, 12% market growth during 2024. And we got 34,000 PV2 heat small systems installed, which is 22,926 meters squared, and 12 solar process heat systems, which is 9 megawatts per hour, if I'm not mistaken. So we got 40% new sales over past 5 years, and glazed collectors for private swimming pools, housing industries, opt for heat pumps, supposedly easily and faster to install. Carbon tax rate increased to 159 per kg CO2 emission in 2023. So European renewable energy company Photon Energy has successfully secured 1,200 hectares of land for a 250 megawatts concentrated solar PV plant with 150 megawatt, which is 1.8 gigawatt per hour or 12 hours of thermal hydro storage to be built in Winterton, KwaZulu-Natal, and has received favorable grid connection terms, thereby ensuring it can be integrated its capacity into the grid. So I'll stop here due to time constraints. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome. You actually were still on time. But thank you for allowing another 5 minutes for Rudy. Can we give him a round of applause? So our next presenter is our technical expert in the project. We're presenting on solar trailers and training rigs for the salt train dissemination and demonstration in the Sadc region, Mr. Rudy Moshik from the AAE Intec.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. So, after this long session, I'm not the last one, but it's again a pleasure to be here and to give you some information about our really, I guess, very great Salt Train project. So on the one side, I want to start maybe watching all these presentations in the afternoon. It was really overwhelming myself, yeah? Seeing what we have managed to achieve together within the last 16, 17 years. And this was really a long journey already, yeah? And I can remember when I was the first time in South Africa and the first time in Zimbabwe. Yeah? Many things has changed since this period. Yeah? And I have really to admit that I'm really very happy and also really overwhelmed to see the outcome of our work which we have done together. Thanks. And therefore, I want an applause from all of us. Okay, Helve, that's my 5 minutes. I guess I will keep it short because most of the things have been told already. Okay. We have seen our holistic approach of Salt Train. And I guess you get really a deep insight of all our activities which we are doing. And I guess we have also acknowledged here the mastermind behind this, Werner Weiss, he was mentioned. So he's basically in retirement, but he still sticks to these topics. And I know he will be very proud of all the activities which are happening and ongoing here. Coming back to one main activity I'm involved, that's the training of different sectors and here we have, related to our approach, a very strong relation to demonstration system, and research and development together with our partners. And we have mentioned all these training activities, and within Salt Train Plus we have another 16 training courses which are scheduled and nearly done with our strong involvement. But beside of these 60 training courses, a much larger number is in dissemination by all our partners. And I guess Samson has mentioned today, it's very important on the one side to do the training, especially the theoretical training, and that's also our approach which we want to implement, this kind of dual training. And Samson mentioned what is enough, 2 days, 4 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. Yeah? I can just tell you, in Austria, I guess we have a very successful educational system, and artisans will be trained 3 years, parallel and theoretical, yeah? Together with, and during the time they are employed with a company. So having also tried to implement this kind of dual training, I guess we have done a lot of different training courses. On the one side, the theoretical training, on the other side, the practical training, and there was a strong need in practical training. And yeah, some people outside says, sorry for this, but it seems I'm mostly presented on these pictures, but I guess that's very, very important. We need here much more capacity, and there's also the integration of train the trainer, which is still very, very important to increase here the capacity in education of our young generations. Yeah, we have tried to find different possibilities to create also a clear structure. Yeah? I guess all of you who are dealing with installations know it's sometimes starting or a problem if some equipment is missing, so where we cannot really do the correct way of installations. So all these topics we are trying to covering in our training activities. So we have mentioned, we have started here in Mozambique, but have also done these training courses in Namibia, in Botswana, and Lesotho. Very important after training is that the trained artisans or the trained technicians, they have to prove their knowledge on real installations. Otherwise, a training is not really make an impact. So having the possibility to provide demonstration system and include this practical training activity within our demonstration systems, I guess that's also a very important benefit of our project. But, and Samsung has also mentioned, there are a lot of hurdles at the moment, and we see it many times. We are concentrating on one special technology, but especially being an energy technician, solar technician, you need some basic knowledge on plumbing, on electrical work, and so on. And we find very often that these basic requirements are missing, and this is also something what industry is requesting. And here we have for sure focus in the future. Coming back to Soul Train, what we have tried or to provide additional tools to assist us during these training activities. One is the solar trailer. It was mentioned several times today. We have started with the solar trailers in Soul Train 2, and the last trailer was delivered in Soul Train 4. And it's really, really nice to see that they are used, that they are in action when these trailers consists of a pump system, of a thermosiphon system, of a PV system. The mobile units can be transferred from one place to another. They are self-working, independent with the PV system, and this is really a quite good demonstration tool which can be used. But beside of this, we see that also more practical activities are important. On the one side, we have already mentioned several times our solar test container in Namibia for side-by-side comparison possibilities. This is a container where we can do testing and doing developments of products. We have the possibility to compare 3 systems under the same conditions in the same time. We can exchange the solar systems on the roof. So there is a lot of work which can be done in the future and will help us to figure out what is a suitable technology for different applications. So we have these test containers. I've mentioned we can change here everything. The system is equipped with data logging, monitoring. We have online monitoring, and we can also provide conditions which are demonstrating different locations, so we can cool down the cold water supply, and by the end, when we are working now in more detailed research work here, and we will have more detailed data evaluation hopefully in the next conferences. So as a next step, and that's what we are, what's ongoing at the moment, we see the strong request, especially from vocational training centers, that they do theoretical training, but the practical component is missing. And out of this idea, Soltrain is now providing training weeks consisting of different units, mobile units. Here we can, on the one side, demonstrate thermosiphon systems. They are also equipped with monitoring equipment. These systems can be installed and uninstalled, can be reinstalled. And beside this thermosiphon system, we have also a pump system, so we can demonstrate different kind of system designs, including a heat pump. And the rigs or training rigs will be provided for training centers and will be shortly in operation. And I guess also this is a good possibility to expand in the whole Sadc region. So, still, even if we have done a lot the last 17 years, also my conclusion, we still need training. And the question is, how can we really achieve this? How can we achieve to get really experienced people who increase their expertise? And that's also important, we need, by the end, quality installations. So it doesn't help if we just have trained people. We must also have the output at the end. Okay, stopping here with my input of Soltrain, I want to announce another conference, the ISAC conference in Graz, which will happen in April. It's also a very big international conference. You will find the program on the website, www.isac-conference.at. And beside of this conference, if you're really welcomed in Europe, in Austria, but before we have the ISAC conference, there's also the International Solar Access Conference in Spain, in Mallorca, which is also, I guess, covering many parts of these topics which are relevant here in the Sadc Energy Week. Also here, there is the possibility to participate, and you are really warmly welcomed. Okay, that's my last slide. I really want to thank you for all the opportunities we had here, and I'm looking forward to the next years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rudy. We can give him another round of applause. The next presenter is Selma Festus, who's presenting on sustainability, expansion of the salt train in the Sadc region. Selma, take your 10 minutes.
Good afternoon once again, and as my colleagues I think have all presented on or all have said the same, Salt Train is just not a project, it's a family. I think you've heard that. And as a family, or like every other strong family, it needs to continue. Growth needs to happen. So I'll be taking you through the sustainability as well as the expansion of the Salt Train project. I think this was also mentioned already to say, or rather let me just to say, to date, Salt Train has not only delivered training, but it has also empowered technicians, those that are installing the solar thermal systems. It has also had then trainers that deliver dissemination courses within their respective countries. And then also we have had bursary opportunities for PhD students within the renewable heating and cooling sector. And then we have our wonderful gender managers that address these gender and diversity structural barriers. And then we have our national project partners that then become knowledge hubs, meaning they go to, as we expand, they go to other Sadc member states and then replicate the Salt Train project. So taking you through the expansion or how we get to go to other Sadc member states is that last year, the same time, we had the 2024 Sadc Sustainable Energy Week, which was held in Botswana. And alongside that conference, we then had the 8th Salt Train Conference. And at that same conference is then where we had this formal engagement with the United Republic of Tanzania, where then they indicated to say, we are interested in the project. Why are you not in Tanzania? We want you to come over. And from here, it's when then SACRI, the center, engaged Tanzania. We communicated and we scheduled, or we sent them a concept note as to what the training entails. And then they accepted. And also following this, member states such as Eswatini, Zambia, and Malawi, we then engaged them on the same, and then they were very, very interested. And then we took the step we further took a step forward where we then had first trainings in this institution, in these member states. So, next slide. So to date, I would report that Salt Train has successfully implemented these trainings in these member states, be Malawi, Eswatini, Tanzania. And over a period, or this training rather runs for 2 days only. And these trainings were conducted between April and September of 2025, and of course organized by SACRI. But then we have our existing Salt Train project partners conduct these trainings. And of course, yeah, we can move on. Thank you. So just to give the statistics of the trainings, in Malawi, this is where we had the first training, and that was held from the 7th to the 8th of April in 2025. And what was very interesting here is that the TVET authority, as well as the Ministry of Energy in Malawi, they're very, very interested or keen on having Salt Train on board. And a memorandum of understanding was then signed during this training. And as you can see, that's my ED, they signing that MOU. And maybe to report on the statistics is that we had a total of 35 participants, 11 were female and 24 were male. And this just shows really that there is interest, because when we send the concept note, we're only targeting 25, 20 to 25 participants to take place. But as you can see, the interest, it's high. Hence, we have that number. Next slide. The second training was held in Tanzania. So this happened between the 6th to the 7th of August. And here, since Tanzania, as you've known, in the 8th Soltran Conference, they were very keen on having Soltran on board. What then they provided for this training is they provided both evacuated and flat plate collectors to allow for practical, demonstrations when these participants attend the training. Or maybe I forgot to indicate that during the trainings, the target audience were plumbers, electrical engineers, those were the target audience, as well as TVET instructors, so that we have them then disseminate the knowledge to their other institutions. Yes, next slide. So the third training was in Eswatini, and this was held from the 13th to the 14th of August at Voktem, that's the technical college. And here our training partner, it was Stellenbosch, South Africa, and the statistics are 61. So you see here now the interest even went up. So we're very, very glad to have these trainers on board. And also during this training, we had our very goodwill, youth and gender goodwill ambassador, Ms. Tenele. She's from Eswatini. And here she highlighted that the strong participation of women and youth at this training was really a sign of a more inclusive gender or energy future. Thank you. So the last training, or the fourth training, was held in Zambia. That's from the 1st to the 2nd of September. And here our training partner was University of Botswana, and the statistics, we have a total of 45 participants, 4 female, 31 males. Next slide. So we have then summarized, of course, during the training, we then had an evaluation form, and we have summarized all the results from that. And there were a few recommendations from both the host, or rather the institution, as well as the trainees. And one of the recommendations was to say, can we please have practical, hands-on practical experiences with these systems? And they would really want to work on it, rather than just having theory for over the past 2 days. And then the second request was to integrate, rather this was for Malawi when they signed the MOU, was then to integrate the solar thermal trainings into their education system. And the third recommendation was to extend the training duration. As mentioned, this happened over a period of 2 days, and they felt that it was quite too short to conduct the training within that period. And then, of course, as we said, Soltran is a family, we respond. And the response was to the first recommendation, which is to have practical demonstration systems. And as we speak, 4 demonstration units are in the production phase. And upon completion of those, we'll then go back to those Sadc member states and then have a second training, which will be then practical. So I'll just talk about the sustainability of the Soltran project beyond 2026, and I'll mainly focus on policy as well as capacity building. And with policy, I would clearly say that solar thermal roadmaps have been developed in the 6 countries, and 4 adopted in 4, and 4 roadmaps have been adopted so far. Of course, bankable proposals for funding scheme in Botswana, Namibia, and Zimbabwe are ongoing. And then with regards to capacity building, there is the Train the Trainer program, whereby these trainers are then able to locally sustain, the knowledge, the technical capacity within their countries. And then, of course, here we have where partner countries then take over the role of quality inspection as well as dissemination workshops, and then also do the Sadc trainings. And then we have an e-learning, or we are developing an e-learning platform whereby all the training material are then uploaded on there, and which will be then readily available for people to access and utilize. And then, go back. So I think I'll just conclude to say sustainability for Soul Train is therefore not only extending activities, it is about integrating the system, policy, as well as financing mechanisms and local expertise that have been obtained will continue to drive the renewable heating and cooling long after 2026. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Selma, for also highlighting the sustainability. Can we give the round of applause to this exciting innovation which provided the solution for the Sadc region? We believe solar is really the resource which is readily available for the whole Sadc region, and we have seen the results which were produced by the Soul Train project. You first have to do energy audit, obviously, and we also can provide the solution for the rural electrification and provide also energy security for the countries. So we really, the results are real, so are evidence-based. It's real data. We did not use anything else. It's just really to integrate, like what Selma said, with policies. Can we please thank this innovation team that brought and give the solution for the region? Yes, we are taking the picture. And are we taking the picture, or we just call the whole team, Anna? Okay. For the next session, Madam, are you taking over? Or?
It's okay. I will take over.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A round of applause to the session and the speakers that we had as we closed off our discussion on innovation and solar thermal in Sadc countries. Ladies and gentlemen, wow. It's quite an achievement that we've come this far at the 9th Soul Train Conference rather. And at this point, we are coming to the conclusion where we will receive conference highlights as well as closing remarks. And to do that, it's no longer a wolf. You can call me Wolf. Okay. All right. Okay, no, that's fine. Then you can take over and then lead us through that session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I always say for each training, you can call me Wolf, then it's easier. And it's not a lion, but a wolf in this case. I'm supposed to stand up here with Kuda. Kuda, at the beginning of the day, he had 10 issues still to solve for the conference. He has solved 5 of them, but now he has 20 issues because new issues came up. So he's quite busy organizing the whole Sadc Energy Week, everything. I just want to wrap up with 3 points I gathered at the beginning of my presentation, or rather at the end. I was asking for inputs on our phase-over. We're in the final project year, and I think we have seen we want to continue. We still have the need to do more activities, do more training, do specific activities in different areas. The concept note is shaping in my head, and I'm looking forward to work with you together on this this upcoming week. 3 takeaways. First, the term evidence generation. I think we've heard it from UNDP, we've heard it from others. Data is needed. We've heard it from Lesotho, that we need better data, we need facts. We are doing the side-by-side comparison study. We've seen some glimpses of it, but we have not seen the full data. We need to generate this data, we need to share it openly and transparently to have informed decisions on strategies and policies. We need to be open about it, and we need to invest more in sharing this kind of information. Also in terms of geographical information systems, and also in starting now the evaluation of our project. We'll do an external evaluation, which is part of this evidence generation, I would say. So that is one takeaway. The second big question is about technology. What kind of technology are we focusing on? We are solar thermal. We are focusing on heat, right? Heat is half is always our motto. We want to raise awareness that it's not all about electricity, because we use a lot of electricity to generate heat. So why not use technologies that focus on heat? Well, this is a supply question, I think, because most people are interested in electricity still. So that's something we are covering with Soltrain. We're covering the heat part, the thermal part. And we have different technologies that can cover this. We have solar thermal, but we also have PV to heat, which is also a good application. We have smart PV applications that can use surplus electricity when needed. We should integrate heat pumps in our system designs, and we have nice applications shown with PVT hybrid collectors. So all these technologies are available to us, and we should use it accordingly, and we should be open about it. Last point for me, the topic of bankable proposals. So how can we transfer now all this on a country level bankable proposal to incentivize solar thermal or renewable heating uptake in the countries? What I'm missing a bit is last year we heard from UNDP in Botswana what they are doing, which was very nice, and I took a lot of notes. This year I was very keen to hear the UNDP Namibia presentation, and I think we've done great progress there. What I'm missing is a bit the regional approach. I know many things need to be done on a national level, national specifics, but what is the regional approach here, and what can be solved on a regional level? And I think in last year of Soltrain, I also have put a mark to that we are shaping this more aggressively, and what we can do in the next phase also. So just 3 takeaways. I've taken much more notes, and like I said, it was very interesting to hear a lot of this information. I hope it was both interesting for all the target, for the different audience. And I'll hand over to Samson. He is the host from NAST, and I think he just wants to wrap it up finally. Thank you.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Good afternoon. I was asked how many minutes do I have. Being Soltrain, the train, when it starts running, you can't stop it. It means it has gained the momentum and it has to continue. I'll just take 1 minute just to thank you. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister. I would like also to thank, unfortunately being engineers, we don't know protocol, so please just put everything together, just like we're putting a solar thermal installation, and put everything together, but at least I would have put all the tools that are necessary for us to do the job. I would like to thank the honorable ministers from the different Sadc countries for taking time and listening to these important topics on solar heating and cooling. I would like to thank the Sadc Secretariat, those of you who have been here. I would like to thank the SACRI and the colleagues for working just in time. Just in time. He's saying, don't call me up. I was about to call the ED for SACRI, Sekuda. I would like just to thank also all the different partners who have helped for this successful conference. I would like to thank the sponsors, our sponsor for Soul Train, Austrian Development Corp, or agents, and they've changed the name now, with the operating as, and also like to thank the moderators that were helped out in all the different sessions. I would like to thank the presenters, the panelists. A sincere apology where we failed you and you didn't do the right thing. It always happens, you think you've transmitted and things are not working out. But I would like also to thank our IT staff, our media staff, and great support. All of you for being good audience, although one thing that I felt we would try and do better, but you promised me that you cover for this weakness that we had because of time. So today or tonight, I will allow you not to sit with anyone that you were working with or coming from in the same country. So during the dinner time, we're going to extend Soul Train to network all the questions that you had. Please bring them up over the minister allowed us over a glass of drink, isn't it? So that all the questions that you had, all the contacts, if you didn't manage to get all the contacts that you needed, we are available. Please, if you need anyone, just find me and I'll find you the person within Soul Train who can come and assist in all the different countries. The local people, I think you know me, so we can do it konapo in the belly, they say. On this juncture, allow me to invite my colleague. Soul Train, the 9th Soul Train Conference has ended here. We will have sessions tomorrow, I think it's 11, where we're also participating in the GWNet Gender and Youth session. We also participate tomorrow in the ELA session in the morning because our sessions across the whole symposium will basically be overlapping. So you'll meet us in all the different rooms that are there. So this juncture, I'm going to ask Francois. I'm going to hand over. My media director was laughing at me. He says, "Is that how you hand over the next conference?" I said, "I'm an engineer. I'm not a media person." So they promised together. Oh, there's one person I haven't forgotten to thank. I'm just waiting to thank her for telling me that when you're handing over, you do a nice, Soul Train flag, and then you hand it over to the person next coming. That's Madame Nyoni there. We have worked together for years before we extended her to where she is. Thank you so much for managing emceeing the whole session. Let's give her a round of applause. Could I still want to come talk to us? All right, Francois, please come up. Come up. I'm handing over. So I made my own engineering made, resembling an evacuated tube So I would have brought an evacuated tube here, so I failed to break. So instead of that, I'll give him.
All right. Let me accept it. But it is not settled yet. So we might host the next Soul Train conference in Stellenbosch, or it may be somewhere else. So
the agreement was that he accepts responsibility. The venue is yet to be discussed. The responsibility of organizing is handed over to him. About where it will be, there's still some bilaterals to be done. We'll let you know as the week goes. Unfortunately, the Honorable His Highness is not here. There were some talks. So we'll see during the week and your input. So you need to talk to us nicely during dinner. If you want Angola, if you think you must come to Angola, you know, talk to us nicely. I'm busy now putting a bid, but we'll talk. But there's been some talk in terms of where we'll be in terms of country. But we had agreed generally to say Stellenbosch is the one organizing the next one. Thank you, Francois.
And obviously the next Sadc conference is going to be in Eswatini, hence the comment. All right, thank you very much. And
we're just talking. Unfortunately, in the morning we've got so busy, we didn't get any group photo. Is it possible, the media people, to have it here, or we need to go outside? Here. They're saying we can have it here. So what do we do? Put chairs here for the honorables and the rest of us. Can we meet here? We can't fit. We have to stand, isn't it? Somebody from media has to assist me. Thank you. Handing over back to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. May I have the photo session at the end as we prepare to leave so that it helps us.